welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Josh Kimmel, all alone, flying solo for you tonight. We will be breaking down the top 60 Dynasty running backs according to myself. No, we won't be going through all 60. I promise. I will not be just listing names one by one like I'm in Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1, where Ron just listens to the names over and over on the radio. We've already established no one cares about Harry Potter that listens to my show, so you won't get the reference. But anyway, if you want more Harry Potter talk or more fantasy talk, please go to Finn's Talk Sports Network on YouTube and follow us for all you audio listeners. Follow them on Twitter as well, Finn's Talk Sports Network. That's where you can find me and all of my content. You can also follow my personal pages at Josh Kimmel OUS on Twitter. And if you just want to get into a glimpse of my personal life, Instagram as well. I'm starting to post a little bit of my rankings on there as well. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to get right into the top 60. We're going to go through the first 12 of my list. This was very difficult. Running backs are always very difficult. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They're a position that I don't really value. When I do a startup dynasty league, I always do super flex, of course, and my top priorities are fill those receivers, fill all of the receivers. If you drafted with me or if you see me on Twitter, you know this for a fact. I will go and draft CD, T. Higgins, all the studs and roll out there with scrub running backs, and I'll still dominate the league because they are a dime a dozen. They do not last long. Just look at Jonathan Taylor. He was the consensus, running back one coming into last year. And now he's not, of course. CMC could say the same thing. And even Brees Hall, these guys all fall because the new hotness. And we're going to start off with number one, Bijan Robinson. I have him at 101, the number one guy you wanted the running back position in Atlanta. We've already spoken about this. Tyler Algier is not very good at football, or at least I don't think so. And he was pretty good in that offense. I believe Bijan Robinson is going to be a monster, and he's only 21 years old, as you know. And that's what you want. You want the young running backs. You want the cheap running backs. You want cheap as in contract-wise, as in you don't want those second contract running backs. Number two, I have Jonathan Taylor. 3, Christian McCaffrey. Yes, I know he's 26 years old. And yes, I have him above the next guy, Brees Hall. Deal with it. CMC is CMC. So Brees Hall is number 4. Kenneth Walker, 5. Saquon Barkley, 6. Jahmyr Gibbs, 7. Ramondre Stevenson, 8. Najee Harris, Mr. Volume himself, number 9. 10, Josh Jacobs. 11, Travis Etienne. And to round out my top 12 is J.K. Dobbins. Now, I was supposed to have Dirtbag Dave on the show, and he was supposed to make fun of me for a couple of these, which I fully expected him to do. But he will do it in the comments, I hope, or he will just text me privately. But I guarantee you, Ramondre Stevenson is way too high for this guy at number 8. And I just don't understand why people are hating on Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson is a complete stud. Last year, only 2 running backs had more targets than Ramondre Stevenson. Austin Eckler and CMC. Those guys are obviously elite talent. Ramondre Stevenson had 88 targets, and we all know a target is worth more than a carry in this league. You want a guy who's going to catch the football out of the backfield. You want a guy in an offense like that where Mac Jones can't get the ball downfield. So what does he do? He panics and tosses it out to Ramondre. They did not add any kind of competition there in New England at all. James Robinson's the only guy back there. James Robinson's not taking away any passing work from Ramondre, so you don't have to worry about that. You may worry about the goal line carries. You may worry about, the whole Patriot system where it doesn't matter what running back they plug in. They're okay. They do a lot of work. But that being said, they got rid of Damian Harris. James Robinson is a Damian Harris light. He's not as good. Damian Harris went over to Buffalo. I just don't see this being an impactful signing. He will be good. James Robinson, as a backup or if Ramondre gets hurt. But no, Ramondre is an elite player. He only has 343 carries in 2 seasons. Age really is an issue to me. 25 years old, that's fine. He's under contract through 2024 in New England. Give me that all day. That's 2 seasons with New England. After that, toss him away. That's fine. Like I said, running backs are a dime a dozen. Use these guys up. They're like the zebra gum, fruit stripe, right? They last for the flavor off the charts. Give me the green one all day. I'll take the yellow one if you have it as well. But the 30 seconds of euphoria, it then completely trash. Just throw it away. That's how I treat my running backs. No offense to all your running backs out there. It's just you're not that you just don't last long. You just don't. So Ramondre for the next 2 seasons will be a super stud. And I have him at running back 8 for that reason. Another guy I want to highlight on my list, which I'm going to get down to the 13 through 24 in a second. Once I pull that up, I have J.K. Dow. No, I have Tony Pollard at 13, Austin Eckler at 14, DeAndre Swift 15, Nick Chubb 16, Dalvin Cook 17. He may not have a team pretty soon. Javonte Williams 18, Rashad White 19, Derrick Henry, Mr. Old Man, Mr. Strong Man. Derrick Henry at 20, Miles Sanders 21, Damian Pierce 22, David Montgomery 23, and rounding out the top 24, finishing up the RB2s is Cam Akers. Cam Akers is only 23, and I think we forget that. This guy's been through a lot. He wants off the team. He wants on the team. He's tore his Achilles. I just don't know what to do with Cam Akers. That's why I kind of put him in that running back 2 position, the very last one, because he can have that ability, but does he want to do it? And do they even like him in Los Angeles? I don't know. But we're not going to talk about him. We're going to talk about a guy who may be coming to Miami. That's Mr. Dalvin Cook himself. I have him at 17th. This guy is amazing, but he is 27 years old. I don't know about you, but when I have a 27-year-old running back that is injury prone, I don't know if that's the right word. It's just his shoulder gets popped out at least 3 times a year, and he's the only one that has that magical harness that goes on that hopefully brings it to Miami when he signs, if he signs. But yes, he's just so good. Like, no matter, he's a home run hitter. He's a very not powerful, but he can get the job done at the goal line. That's never been a problem. And he can catch passes out of the backfield. That's the number one thing I'm looking at in my running back position. And plus, he can hit home runs, like I said. Since 2019, he's had 1,000 yards every single season, and he's had double-digit touchdowns in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Name me another running back that's done that. It's going to be hard to find. That's just the facts. Dalvin Cook is an elite talent who was misused in Minnesota, and that's pretty sad that I say misused. What I mean by that is they never threw him the ball. They never really targeted him out of the backfield, and I don't understand why. You had, I guess you have Justin Jefferson, you had Adam Thielen, and you had Stephon Diggs all these years, like elite pass catchers, but Dalvin Cook only was targeted 48 times a year. That's not good for any kind of running back one. You want to hit that 60-plus target mark a year, especially somebody like Dalvin Cook, who can get it done in space. So Dalvin Cook 17 for me, just because I don't know where he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be in Miami. I don't know if he's going to, there's potentially other places he can land. Chicago. I don't know. And that's why I don't like it right now. When you're doing a startup right now, I don't want to draft these players like a Dalvin Cook or a Zeke Elliott or someone who is unknown. And right now, that's what we're looking at with Dalvin Cook. So that's why I have him so low at 17. But I mean, if you look at the competition of the players I have above him, I mean, it's very warranted. So it's not a terrible ranking. Like, it's not bad. But you look at someone like a Nick Chubb who doesn't catch balls at all, but at least I know where he is. At least I know where he's going to play for the next couple of years, and he's going to rush for 1,600 yards no matter what. Nick Chubb just is a menace on the ground. He's just not sexy. Nobody's trading for Nick Chubb. Nobody's dreaming about trading for Nick Chubb, but he's that kind of player where, 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns. Oh, he only had 15 targets. Oh, no big deal, dude. He still did the job. He'll never be a running back 1. He'll never be that elite talent, but that's why I have him at that sweet spot of 16 right there. Let's go real quick before we move on to 25. So 25, James Cook, that the player out of Buffalo. I think he's pretty good. Aaron Jones, 26. Joe Mixon, 27th. Kind of the same situation as Dalvin Cook. We don't know where he's going to be. He may be cut, and then if he's cut, where is he going to land? And this, to be completely fair with Joe Mixon, he hasn't really produced. I mean, he's done well, but it's a lot of high volume and no competition. He was one of those rare running backs that didn't have any kind of competition. Like Samaje Perine, give me a break. Chris Evans, they brought him in and he did nothing. Anyway, I have Antonio Gibson at 28, the next CMC apparently. 29, Alexander Madison. This one will go up. This one, no, understand, these rankings are fluid, and these rankings always move because things are always moving. When Dalvin Cook does get cut, I can see Alexander Madison moving up my board quite a bit. But as of today, on May 21st, where he's still the backup, where Dalvin Cook is technically still there, that's why he's so low on my list. Isaiah Pacheco, 30th. Zach Charbonnet, 31st. Damian Harris, 32nd. Alvin Kamara, how the mighty have fallen, at 33. Devin Singletary at 34. And I'll round up with Khalil Herbert, 35. That's a pretty good solid list, man. Like, I wouldn't be upset with any of these guys as my running back one. I know that sounds silly. That sounds so silly. Like any of these guys, maybe Alvin Kamara. And what I mean by that is because I've already spoken about it. Most of my teams are built with the Devin Singletaries, the Damian Harrises, the Antonio Gibsons, because they still get the opportunities. They're just not as sexy as a CMC, but they still get the job done as long as you have those strong receivers. So I suggest you trying to get around this kind of range for your running backs, and we're going to get into that real quick as I speak about some other players and why they fell into the rankings and what I want to do with them. So here's one. Guys I want out on. Guys I want to trade right away. I don't want to touch them. They hurt me if they're on my roster, but they're also good players. So I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. He's my number one guy I want to trade away in all leagues immediately. He'll never have more peak value than he has today. 340 carries last season. He was obviously phenomenal. His numbers say it for himself. But let's be honest here. You know, he's on a 1-year contract, a franchise tag. He has no security. He's got a lot of wear on those tires. He has a lot. We've seen running backs fall fast. We've seen Zeke fall fast. We saw Kamara fall fast last year. Todd Gurley, although with the injuries. So not everyone is Derrick Henry. Not everyone. And Josh Jacobs is definitely not Derrick Henry. But he's always been like a plotting type running back. He's always had those high carries. He's always had the mileage. And I just don't understand how people can buy into a player like Josh Jacobs who's done it. Like, he's been top 15. He's been good. But last year he had one blow up year because he wanted to get paid. And then he didn't get paid. Well, he got paid. I'd take the $10 million too, Josh. But he signs a franchise tag. They didn't want to extend him long term. That tells you something. To me, that tells you something. You know, they have Zamir White in the background. I'm not saying Zamir's as good as Josh Jacobs, although I would have told you that last year. Last year, old Josh would have said, Zamir White, the starter, if you know, you know. All right. Y'all made the memes. Y'all have the pictures of me. I get it. That was my ride or die, and I died. But it's okay. So, Josh Jacobs, I can see you getting max value for this person. If you are an aging team and Josh Jacobs is one of your only assets, I can easily see you getting like a Jameson Williams, the rookie out of Detroit, the receiver, and adding a pick to it. Easily, because everyone's down on Jameson Williams right now, or a player like that where he's suspended. He just had an ACL injury year before, so you really haven't seen him play, but that potential is there. So Josh Jacobs will burn out in a year, but Jameson Williams you'll have for 7 years, if that's the route you go. But I'm the kind of person, like I said, I chew up my running backs and I spit them out. They're meaningless to me. They are just a number, and I hate to say it that way, but in fantasy, not in real life, because I love these guys. Jamal Williams is my favorite player in the league right now. Josh Jacobs isn't, because of reasons. But Josh Jacobs, he doesn't care about you. He said it. He said himself. He doesn't care about fantasy. He just wants to get paid. I don't think he wants to play on this franchise tag. Will this be a Josh Jacobs that quits like he has before? I don't know. Just don't get caught holding the bag on a Josh Jacobs, just like you did on Zeke and just like you're doing with Kamara. Because right now, you wish you could have moved those guys. And you wish you did sooner, because now you can't. And now they're just wasting on your roster. And now you just can't. You couldn't even get a third. I could not get a third round rookie pick for Alvin Kamara last year or this year in the rookie season. Impossible. Nobody wants to touch him. Don't let that happen. Yes, you might have a half season or another good season, with Josh Jacobs. You won't have what you had last year. You won't. It's not going to happen. Yes, I have him 10th. Yes, I do see the true value of 10th because he doesn't have the competition. But we can see this 10th this year drop down to 22nd next year and then go down to 34th. We're not rising, people. We're falling. He's on the fallen. So go ahead and get out now while you can. Count your blessings. Thank you for the championship last year. Thank you for your service. Let's move on. The next guy I want to get out of right now, like immediately, Dameon Pierce, Houston Texans. I have him 22nd overall on my rankings. Young player, 23 years old. 23. People that play Dynasty think that's gold. Like, oh, he's 23. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. Guys, he doesn't catch a ball. And I feel like a theme coming on here. I want pass catching running backs. He doesn't catch the ball. He just doesn't. And a player like that, you need to be Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb to be fantasy relevant for a very long time. Add that to the fact where he's on the Houston Texans, where they were 30th in rushing attempts last season. They're probably going to be bad again because when you're bad, you don't run the ball unless you're Atlanta. Atlanta's the only team that does that. And then on top of that, they were mixing Rex Burkhead last year. They were mixing in a couple of different weird players. You know, they signed Marlon Mack last year for some reason. Do they truly believe in Dameon Pierce? I don't know. This is a team in transition. This is a team growing. This is a team that I don't see scoring many touchdowns in 2023. I don't see them competing. I don't see them doing anything worth of anything. So Dameon Pierce is a young running back who has a lot of miles left on his tires, and you could get equal value. I would try to aim for a draft pick next year, like a first. Somebody be desperate enough to give you a first, take it and run fast. Or like I said, go ahead. You're not going to get a Jameson Williams because people are smart enough, but you can go ahead and get a solid receiver out of this guy. Get rid of 39 targets last year. 39. I think I could have got 39 targets last year if I played for the Houston Texans. That's not good enough. It's just not. And he needs a lot of volume. You know, I'm looking at his high games, his breakout games. Is great. He's got 28 carries, 26 carries. Is that going to last a full 17 game stretch? It didn't last year, and it won't this year, and it won't the year after. This isn't a player that's going to manufacture touches. He's not going to manufacture targets. He's going to hopefully get you 100 yards. What is that, 10 points? Hopefully, if he falls into the end zone, 16, that's his cap. I'm out, man. Like, yeah, he's young. Yeah, he's a beast. Yes, I love like the talent for real life football, not for fantasy, man. And I would just get out right away ASAP. Oh, we're moving on to the section, my section, the garbage can section, the slumming it, baby, because I'm always slumming it with like the worst of the worst, the bottom of the bottom. Not many leagues do I have any elite talent. I just don't value it. I just can't. It's like going into a dealership and you're like, hey, there is a Maserati over there, but it's like $50,000. I'm just throwing out numbers. But you can have this Corolla over here for like $45,000. No, I'm good. I don't want the Corolla, bro. I'll spend a little bit more on the receiver. Like, I don't understand why people are buying these running backs. You'll get the same, you'll go to the same place. You'll have a nicer toy for a lot longer that'll last you forever. Or you can have these running backs that last you 2 years, whatever. Khalil Herbert, my 35th running back overall. I love this guy. He has no talent, he has talent. He has no talent behind him. Deontay Foreman and Roschon Johnson, although I do like Roschon Johnson. Is that how you pronounce his name, Bobby? I don't know. I do have him in a lot of leagues, Roschon Johnson. I grabbed him in the third round in rookie drafts, hoping he's something, because I also have a lot of Khalil Herbert because he was free in the majority of my leagues, as in I picked him off of waivers, and now he's my starting running back. In the games, Khalil Herbert had 10 or more carries. He averaged 15.86 points per game, which is only a 5-game sample size, like I said. But give me 15.8.6 per game all day of the week. The guy's explosive. He's unreal. He had 5.7 yards per touch last year. That's 7th in the NFL. We know we want Justin Fields to take that leap and take a step forward and throw the ball to DJ Moore. But this team was second in rushing last year. They're going to be second in rushing again. Probably not, but at least top 8, top 5. They're going to want to run the ball. So why not have the starting running back on a team that wants to run the ball a lot, pound the ground? He's literally free. People don't believe in this guy, but who cares if they do? He's going to have the same shelf life as somebody that you're going to pay way more for. He's going to have the same shelf life, give you the same production, except for he's going to cost way less. I still don't understand why people are overpaying for running backs when they're literally in front of you for free. This is one of those cases. Do not miss out. I know it was only a small sample size, but come on, guys. You guys were stroking it to Rashad Penny the year he had 4 good games in a row. And then what happened? Okay. Yeah, he sucked. Bad example maybe, but why are you stroking it to him, but you're not stroking it to Khalil Herbert? I don't get it. Go get him. He has no security. That's scary. I get it. But he has no competition. It's free. Come on. But that's going to wrap it up because I do have questions. I have 3 questions to answer. That's going to wrap it up for the running back rankings, go ahead and go into the comments. Let me know how you think. Go over to my Instagram. Well, my Instagram. Go to my Twitter, Josh Kimmel OUS. Let me know what you think. I'm going to post these later on during the week. Maybe give you a little 1 through 12 on this day, whatever. Keep it interesting. But I want to know what you guys think, because I worked hard on this list and I think it's pretty solid. And I know I'm going to get roasted for devaluing running backs. I did today. I made a trade today. I traded Josh Jacobs and I traded Kittle, which is elite. I didn't want to get rid of him, but I got back in return Trey Lance, who I truly believe in. He was a top pick in the NFL. He's a quarterback, which we've already spoken about quarterbacks. The worst quarterback is going to average more fantasy points than the running back, 15? So, okay, I'll take Trey Lance and take a shot on him. And I got Jameson Williams back in return. Again, something I gave you an example on earlier. That's why I kind of brought it up. I got trashed. Oh, Josh Jacobs this shot. Listen, you guys can have him. I'll have Jameson Williams for 10 years and be happy. And Trey Lance if he works out. And even if Trey Lance doesn't work out, he'll have the same shelf life as a elite running back, the 3 years, except for he'll be a bust for 3 years and he'll still produce about 15 to 16 points a game, which I'll be happy with. And there's a lot less quarterbacks in the league than running backs. Don't forget that. All right, so I got some questions from Twitter, some trade questions. We're going to answer them live. I had just now looking at them, so here they are. At JazooFF on Twitter asks, should I keep the 105 and take Stroud or JSN, or should I trade it for J.K. Dobbins at 1.08? So I don't know any of the rules of this league. I don't know if it's a super flex. I'm assuming it is, since Stroud could be your pick at 105. I don't know your receiver or your running back room, but I just talked about how I want that elite player over, the elite receiver or quarterback over the running back position, but you're also getting 108. That's tough. That could be Addison. That could be Quentin Johnston. That could be Zay Flowers, whoever you like. Hell, it could be a quarterback if someone falls. We don't know. That being said, I think I'm going Dobbins in 108, because you're already getting Addison, maybe, possibly, hopefully. That's best case scenario. And then you're adding on J.K. Dobbins, who I have in my top 12 at the Dynasty running back position. You're adding value. Plus you're getting that value player, which you can move if you don't want him. You can move him for extra value, and you're only going 3 spots back. And at worst, you're getting the second best receiver in the draft opposed to the first. Yes, you're giving up that quarterback, but I don't believe in Stroud. I've passed on Stroud at 105 multiple times this year. Give me J.K. Dobbins at 108 all freaking day. All right, next at Eater Lloyd 1. This is a big one. Saquon Barkley, Terry, I'm assuming McLaurin, and a 2025 first for Gibbs, Treylon Burks, and Quentin Johnston. So when people look at these big trades, these 3-for-3s or 3-for-4s or these big trades, I like to break it down. As in, I take the most valuable player in this trade, which is, by my rankings, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think I have Saquon above him. Yeah. So I look at those players. Saquon. Okay. Who's he worth? Gibbs. Okay. To me, even swap. Okay. Cancel those out. So now I'm on Terry McLaurin. He is worth more than Treylon Burks. He is probably worth Treylon Burks and Quentin Johnston, in my humble opinion. So right there, Terry McLaurin over Burks and Quentin Johnston. And then you have to give up a first. I think I'm taking the Saquon side. I'm taking the Saquon side all day, because you're getting an established, awesome, elite receiver and awesome running back. And plus that first, you're getting it. You're keeping it. And the other guys, Burks, you just don't know. Quentin Johnston's still just a question mark. Now, I know that 2025 first is going to be a question mark, but at least it's a question mark later, and you're getting the better players right now, Saquon and Terry, over someone like Gibbs, who you don't know, and Burks, who was a bust last year. Let's face it, and they don't have a quarterback there that you feel confident in. That's huge. Will Levis, you got Ryan Tannehill. I don't know. I don't feel confident in any of those quarterbacks to get Burks the ball. So Saquon and Terry for me. Now you're saying, well, Sam Howell. We've seen Terry McLaurin succeed with everyone. I'm not worried about Sam Howell. I don't think he's good, but I don't think anyone was good throwing Terry the ball, and Terry still produced. Burks didn't produce, period. All right. Last question. JMCC Crate 9 wants to know, straight up, Rachaad White, running back out of Tampa, Deontay Johnson, receiver out of Pittsburgh. But the stipulation is it's a non-PPR. Now, my first thoughts. JM, Mr. JMC, Crate, are you a monster? Are you a psychopath? Are you non-PP? Is this 1992? We're still playing non-PPR. People out there are still playing standard leagues. What I went to a 90s bar last night. It was 90 grunge last night. And they're playing like the Nirvana and the Pearl Jam, and we're having a good time. It was good for one night, It was cool. I don't want to live that again. I don't want to relive it again. Guys, we're supposed to evolve and change and get with the times. First off, JMC Crate 9, thanks for the question. Second off, get your league to change the rules. You're not having fun playing standard. I know you're not. Nobody, you're seeing scores like 57-62. What a great game. Like, everyone wants to see points. We want to see these big, like 104-98. Like, we want to see points scored. And plus, how much fun is it when Rachaad White's out there and he catches one ball for 0 yards and you're like, yes, point. Like, come on. I know it's not worth a point. Like, it shouldn't be worth a point, but still, it's just more cheering, more catches, more cheering, more points. What are we doing? That being said, since it is non-PPR, and Deontay Johnson is known for his PPR skills, where he will catch 99 balls for 723 yards, where he'll have a stat line of 12 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. That's just what he does. But those 12 catches are worth 12 points. And at 58 yards is 5.8. So you add all that up, he's a monster. You take it away, he's nothing. He's nothing. He doesn't score touchdowns. He gets you like 60 points a game. So you're telling me he's going to get you 6 points a game. That's what you're telling me right there with Deontay Johnson. You look at someone like Rachaad White, who is the primary running back over there in Tampa Bay. They got rid of Fournette. It's a non-PPR league, so it doesn't matter. Rushing yards and receiving yards count. So therefore, he'll get more opportunities because he'll get more carries and targets than Deontay Johnson will get more targets. So you got to take that in. More opportunities. Who's going to get it? Rachaad White will. Give me Rachaad White. He has a better chance of getting you 50 yards on the ground, 20 yards in the air, and possibly a touchdown. Whereas Deontay Johnson, you're hoping that he gets you a hundo. You're hoping he gets in the end zone. Where Rachaad White has an easier path, especially in non-PPR. So Rachaad White is where I would lean in that situation. Oh, so that wraps it up for tonight's show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're on the podcast side, please go over to Finn's Talk Sports Network. Follow us on our YouTube page. We're doing every single Sunday night, guys. And not just Sunday night. We have a wrestling show on Thursday nights, No Hold Bards. We got a beer and sports podcast on Monday nights where we just talk a lot of nonsense. Me and my buddy Josh Wingate. The whole network, every single night, except for Wednesdays, has something for you to watch. If you watch, look, Miami Heat, Florida Panthers. Who would have thought? Who's covering it better? No one else besides the Finn's Talk Sports Network. Again, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Josh Kimmel OUS. Follow the network on Twitter as well, Finn's Talk Sports Network. Guys, next week we're breaking down the top 80 wide receivers for your Dynasty fantasy football team. Bobby, can you play me out?